Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
How are you? Good morning, Oji.
Good morning, Leila. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. And good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending today in Nigeria. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said that the recent move by the federal government to regulate the social media space from fake news and hate speech is not aimed at gagging the media. Mr. Mohammed made this known when he received the national executives of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Abuja yesterday. He explained that the federal government has taken the initiative to adopt the use of technology, legislation, and regulatory bodies, including meeting with social media platform owners like Facebook, WhatsApp, Google, Twitter, and Instagram to engage them on the best way forward. He also stated that the federal government will still go ahead with the plan to stop purveyors of fake news and hate speech, adding that no responsible government will allow such acts to reign freely. I mean, I think this is a welcoming development as well, because obviously a lot of people are outraged with the bill that is, that has passed its first reading. Nigerians are reacting because they feel like it's, it's a way of curbing our free speech. But I think it's a welcoming development, really, because there's the amount of fake news and hate speech going around the internet is really appalling. And I think that every government should take it in stride to actually regulate the internet. That's my take on that.
Well, I think what is important is that beyond making repeated statements about government going to control social media, the Minister of Information is now reassuring not just journalists, but the entire public, that this will not be a unilateral decision on the part of government. And by that, he seems to be making the point that we all have a responsibility to protect our community, to make sure that purveyors of hate speech and fake news do not cause any kinds of problem, either at the personal or the communal or the national level. You cannot argue with that.
Absolutely.
Now, he also reassured the Nigerian Union of Journalists that government is not targeting journalists, it's not targeting the media. And he says that he realizes that, journalists will not go out of their way to publish fake news or promote hate speech, because then it creates a problem of trust. If you publish fake news consistently as a news medium, then, of course, you will lose the trust and the confidence of your audience, because your medium will then be labeled. And the Minister of Information indicates that he understands this. But that, nonetheless, there are persons within the community who seem to have taken a full-time assignment out of promoting hatred, and falsehood, and that such persons should be checked. So, in allaying the fears of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, he also tried to talk to the journalists about their own responsibility as professionals. And then he cited the fact that government will engage in stakeholder engagement. Yes. It will be a stakeholder-driven process. I think it's also good to hear that. And then he referred to the tech giants, Twitter, Facebook. He probably had read the story about what happened in the National Assembly in France last week, where a bill was tabled to see how to compel the tech giants, Facebook, Twitter, to make sure that they remove within 24 hours any material, that promotes hatred or falsehood on their channels. So the conversation is useful, but we should also say to the Minister of Information that what people are concerned about is respect for the freedom of expression.
Exactly.
Respect for media freedom. Nigerians are also opposed to this talk about death penalty.
Yes.
Most of the people that I have listened to are saying you can't kill a person just for expressing an opinion, no matter how damaging that may be. And then Nigerians are insisting on good faith. They also say there are already laws. There is a cybercrime law. There are sections of the criminal code, laws on defamation, which can be used in this instance. But to go on an overdrive, to now come up with special legislation, raises fears of an attempt at persecution.
To shut down the media. Absolutely. But I like the fact that he did mention that he's going to talk to the social media platforms to find ways to engage, to try to make sure that the bill is correct and accurate in terms of tailoring it for our own good. And I think that that's the most important thing. And he also reassured that all of those measures will be put in the bill, and they're important that, you know, it's open for debate.
It's good reassurance.
The bill is even, the two bills, they are both private member bills. They are sponsored by private, you know, members, that's members of the Senate. But of course, government has a responsibility to also take an interest in it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, the minister has come out with good reassurance, but it's for that assurance to actually be, and not just to be in hearsay and to be in words, because we do want to know that if this is a bill that does go through, it doesn't trample on certain rights, such as what Dr. Abati said, freedom of expression, the freedom of the media as well. So it is going to remain a concern. Let's just put it that way, especially when you see some of the clauses posed in the hate speech bill, if we take that one. But hey, I mean, it's good reassurance, so we'll just see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's head over to Paris now, where an original score of 2 minuets, composed by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart when he was just 16 years old, blew past estimates at Sotheby's auction in Paris and sold for 372,500 euros. It was nearly double the top estimated value for 200,000 euros set for the handwritten score dating from 1772. The unpublished autographed score of the minuets, titled A Stylized Dance, contains a few corrections and minor modifications, including 1 or 2 that might have been in the hands of Mozart's father, Sir Leopold. The sale comes ahead of an offering by rival auction house Christie's in Paris next week of a rare portrait of Mozart made when the musical genius was just 13 years old. Mozart, a child prodigy, began composing at a very early age under his father's guardians.
Oh, wow. Mozart minuets. That's interesting.
Obviously, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart will live forever.
Yes, absolutely.
And he continues to live, you know, hundreds of years after his death. And you can see that more than, you know, about 2 centuries later.
2 centuries later,
yes, he's still being celebrated. And that's a true mark of genius. Yes. You know, geniuses who distinguish themselves like Mozart, like Shakespeare, like Soyinka, you know, oftentimes end up as one-name historical personalities. And of course, if you read the history of Mozart, you know that, well, he may not have fully captured the public imagination of his time with his 600 works, the last one being Requiem, which he didn't quite complete. But he came to be better appreciated, you know, after. At the time, this particular minuet, 2 minuets. A minuet is a stylized ballroom dance for 2 persons, you know, in a 3-theme sequence.
Yes.
At the time, he was a young man, as you said. He was 16.
He was 16.
This was even before he took up, you know, a commission at the Salzburg court where he played. But because of the nature of his music, he didn't do popular music, concertos, operas, librettos, you know. But he came to outlive, you know, some of his competitors at the time. And I think that, yes, you know, his celebration, this is a form of celebration. I mean, look at that amount, you know, for just,
I know,
you know, works that have been in private collections.
After 2.
And then his picture also, it will be at the Christie's, right?
Yes, his portrait, yes. They're going to next week. We're looking forward to how much that's going to sell.
It's a global treasure.
Yes, yes. Well, let's take our final story under entertainment. Afrobeat superstar Wizkid has won the Ashford and Simpson Songwriters Award at the 2019 BET Soul Train Awards alongside Beyoncé for their collaborative single, Brown Skin Girl. The song, which is an ode to dark-skinned women, was one of the standout tracks from Beyoncé's The Lion King, The Gift album. The 2019 Soul Train Awards, which honors the best in soul, hip-hop, and R&B, was held at the Orleans Arena on Sunday night in Las Vegas.
Amazing.
You know, congratulations to him. But, you know, when we read the story, we were keeping our fingers crossed that he was going to win. It's amazing that he won. Yes. He also won alongside South African.
We did talk about it last week when we were talking about the fact that it's coming up.
Yes.
True.
He also won alongside another South African He won for his composition and another South African for writing as well. So it's such an amazing collaborative effort.
He keeps on bringing the awards home. Him and Berna right now just keep bringing all the awards home.
Well, congratulations to him. Yeah, from Dubai to Las Vegas.
Dubai trip.
He's recording success after success.
Yes.
And, you know, he and Davido and Burna Boy and Zlatan and, you know, all the other emerging musicians, Mayokun and all of them, you know, they've become a source of inspiration to many young Nigerians. So, you know, the kind of effect that football had, you know, in the early 80s. Now every young Nigerian wants to sing because they have role models that they can look up to.
Absolutely. Oji, thank you very much.
Oji.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.